David,
Yes.
what do you think of when I say, I have become a virgin?
That you're lying more than George Santos? Why?
No, it's supposed to make you think of Kate Blanchett playing Queen Elizabeth the Virgin Queen, and how Queen Elizabeth I was the inspiration for the state of Virginia.
Oh, it's because we're recording Queer Money episode 391, and today we're sharing the most affordable LGBTQ friendly city in Virginia.
Yep. Hey, have my Oscar, please. Let's get on with the show.
The mission of Queer Money is to financially empower the LGBTQ plus community. Join us in thanking Capital One for supporting that mission.
So David would like to start this episode off by being getting on the pity train.
Oh no. We prepare this data in chunks, and I'll go through and I'll look through a bunch of cities and map out the data, and we seem to have some problem children right now.
And I wouldn't have thought that Virginia, being so close to Washington, D.C., would be such a problem child.
Well, it's kind of the opposite problem that we had with places like Wyoming, or that we have with Vermont, in that a lot of people, similar to Washington, a lot of people are concentrated in one area, and that's that area right around DC. So it did make
it's expensive.
It's really fucking expensive. It did make pulling apart those areas difficult, similar to Seattle, in that the whole area in Arlington County and Alexandria and DC is all just kind of, data is all compressed together as if it were one city and not in separate. Well, one's a state and one's a district. It just kind of some of the data is all combined,
kind of cannibalizes itself.
Yeah, so we had to pull the kids apart and make them stand out a little bit. So
that sounds morbid. So the runner-up for the great state of Virginia is Virginia Beach. Makes me want to go.
Right, it's not anywhere near DC.
No, yeah, exactly.
So
why? Well, it got 100 on the Human Rights Campaign Municipal Equality Index, which is awesome. The rent is below national average, which makes it just a bit more expensive than Richmond at about $1,626 per month. Home prices are just slightly below national average as well, so $314,000. And the cost of living is only slightly higher than the national average at 103.3%, or 3.3% higher than the national average. So Virginia Beach is a great runner-up, and you have you have proximity to the beach, right?
Yeah, it's a northern beach, right? It's not like being on the Gulf Coast.
Don't diss northern beaches.
I'm not dissing it. The beaches of the upper northeast are beautiful, especially during the late spring, summer, and early fall.
Just be careful, you might have that George Costanza problem when you go swimming in water.
One of the things I will say about Virginia Beach, what was interesting is HRC, for whatever reason, I think these cities kind of volunteer and ask to be ranked.
They apply.
Yeah, they do apply. And so Virginia Beach is kind of a cluster of cities. So there was Virginia Beach and Newport News and I think it was Norfolk, I can't remember now, that are clustered together. And so we had to pull these apart. And Virginia Beach was the one in the area, in that little cluster, that kind of stood out as a better place when it came to affordability and LGBTQ friendliness.
On a side note, anytime somebody says cluster, I can only think of one thing. So David, who is the winner of the great state of Virginia?
Tired of all the credit card offers you get from your current credit scoring app? Download CreditWise by Capital One today to avoid them. Well, John, you already gave it away.
I did?
Because you mentioned it.
Well, it's in the notes. I'm just saying what's in the notes.
Right there in our notes, right? So the winner is Richmond.
Yay!
Which, again, a lot of people are probably saying, well, why not all these areas right around the capital? But here are some reasons why.
Because of money.
Yeah, right, exactly. Both Virginia Beach and Richmond, they both did get a 100 on the HRC Municipal Equality Index, which meant that they were kind of best in category, ranking really high, right? But the thing with Richmond is Richmond actually has lower than national average rent, and they come in with the average rent there is about $1,550 for an average 2-bedroom apartment. The other thing is that the price of homes is just slightly above the national average. So you've got a city that has a lot of vibrancy. It's seems to be reinventing itself. John and I were there a couple of years ago, giving a talk at Capital One, and we absolutely loved the downtown area.
Yeah, that great downtown area. I remember those tacos.
Yeah,
like I was married to them.
And then the other thing is Richmond's cost of living is lower than a lot of the other big cities, especially those closer to the capital. It's lower than the national average by about 3.9%. And it has a higher average incomes, median and average incomes than Virginia Beach. So that's why it beat out Virginia Beach.
Right, exactly. So what are some more features that make Richmond amazing? Well, if you did your homework in 7th grade, you know that Virginia, it's the Virginia state capital. The interesting thing is, and I think we have a lot with this with a lot of states, is that it's kind of a blue little oasis in a big red sea. It went with Biden in 2020. It went with Youngkin, a Republican, in 2022. But for David and me, it's notable for its craft beers, which we love, and food, which we love, and fashion and arts. And there are a handful of gay bars. It's not the gayest, most raucous LGBTQ city in terms of bumping bars and clubs to go to. So it's kind of a nice place to go. Like if you're looking for a sort of a quieter, more homey place to live that's also friendly, but still has some decent entertainment and places to go. Richmond is a great place to consider. It's also the home of Virginia Commonwealth University, which has its own LGBTQ support, which makes it a little bit more gay friendly. There actually, when I was on, I'm the one that does the research on what makes cities awesome.
I do the numbers. He does
the work.
Oh, really?
And I found this website called OutRVA, so outrichmondvirginia.com. And they have a lot of information on there on the scene in Richmond, and a lot of events going on. So if you're going to visit in the area or you think about moving there, definitely check out that resource. And their Pride is toward the end of September, which is great. So if you want to go visit other Prides around the country, this one shouldn't conflict with other Prides you might be wanting to go to.
Definitely. I would say that Richmond is a great city to go test and see what you think of it. The other nice thing is its close proximity to a lot of other things, other great cities, and it's starting to become a little bit more of a tech hub. There's a lot of big companies that are moving there, which means they will bring that kind of equality that we traditionally expect of Fortune 500 or Fortune 1000 companies.
One of our good friends just moved there during the pandemic, so now we have to go there if for no other reason than to visit her. Start your journey to financial independence with a checking and savings account that doesn't nickel and dime you with fees. Get a Capital One 360 checking or 360 performance savings account at Capital One today.
Thanks again for listening to another episode. We appreciate that. And as we covered this week, Virginia, that means next week we're moving up the list of the V's. We will be covering the tiniest, gayest friendly city on the list, probably. And that's because that's because it's from Vermont.
If you'd like to see the results of all the cities in each state that we're analyzing, please go to queermoneypodcast.com/cities or click the link in your podcast player for our growing analysis. Thank you and have a great weekend.